You've got this brilliant idea, a social venture that could genuinely change things for the better. But here's the thing. An idea is only as powerful as your ability to share it with the world. In this explainer, we're going to walk through exactly how to turn that amazing vision into a compelling presentation that creates real, tangible impact.
And just so you know, the framework we're going to be looking at today is adapted from the fantastic curriculum over at the Flying Wings Online School's Social Venture program. It's all designed to help students just like you turn those great ideas into reality.
And that's the real question, isn't it? You see the potential with perfect clarity in your own mind, but how do you get everyone else to see it too? How do you bridge that gap? Well, the answer lies in a powerful, well-crafted presentation. It is literally the bridge that carries your vision out into the world.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll talk about your idea's big moment. Then, we'll get into the nuts and bolts of crafting your presentation and, of course, delivering it with confidence. We'll wrap things up with the secret sauce, the power of looking back and how that creates a never-ending cycle of growth.
All right, let's start with the why. Because before you even think about opening a slide deck or writing a single bullet point, it is absolutely crucial to understand the real purpose of this moment. What is a final presentation actually meant to do?
You see, a final presentation is so much more than just a summary of your work. It's a strategic event. It's your chance to really showcase your solution, sure, but it's also where you prove what you've learned, you get that critical feedback you need to grow, and honestly, you build your own confidence as a leader and a communicator.
Now, let's get into the structure. A truly great presentation tells a story, and every great story needs a solid blueprint. So here's a simple 7-part framework that will help you tell your venture's story in the most effective way possible.
Think of this as your story's narrative arc. You start with a powerful introduction that really hooks your audience from the get-go. Then you clearly lay out the problem. You introduce your brilliant solution as the hero of the story. Then you get practical. Here's our implementation plan, our plan for funding, and the long-term impact we're going to have. And you always end with a crystal clear call to action.
You know, having a great script, that's really only half the battle. Now we need to talk about performance. How do you actually bring that script to life with a confident delivery that makes your message not just heard, but felt?
These are your keys to success. That structure we just talked about, that gives you clarity. Your confidence, which you show through your eye contact and your body language, that builds trust. Your visual aids, they need to support your message, not distract from it. And managing your time and actually engaging with the audience, that shows respect and it keeps them right there with you, every step of the way.
And this is where it gets real. In the high-pressure world of startup pitches, it's often the clearest and most confident presenters who walk away with the funding and partnerships they need. It's not always just about who has the absolute best idea on paper.
And look, for social ventures, the stakes are arguably even higher. When you're asking people to invest in social change, your credibility is everything. Strong, evidence-based storytelling isn't just a nice-to-have. No way. It's how you prove your impact and earn the deep trust of donors, partners, and the communities you want to serve.
Of course, challenges are going to pop up, but the solutions are often simpler than we think. Feeling nervous? The antidote is practice, practice, practice. Your message feels a little fuzzy or unclear? Go back to that core structure. Worried about running out of time? You've got to rehearse with a timer until it's second nature. These are foundational habits for any strong presenter.
So your presentation is over. The audience is clapping, you've nailed the Q&A. Phew, it feels like the end, right? You're done. But what if I told you the most important part of the entire process is actually just beginning?
And this, right here, is the big pivot. That presentation, that was for them. Your audience, your investors, your teachers. What comes next? This is for you. This is the internal work that guarantees your external success the next time around.
This is what we mean when we say reflection. It's not just kind of daydreaming about what happened, it's an active, critical process. It's about really dissecting the experience to understand what you learned, being honest about your strengths and weaknesses, and finding real, concrete ways to get better.
Think of it this way. Presentation and reflection are two sides of the very same coin. One is all about communicating your ideas outward, to the world. The other is about internalizing the lessons to fuel your own growth. For any kind of long-term success, you simply cannot have one without the other.
So where do you even start with this reflection thing? Well, these 3 questions are the perfect launchpad. Just ask yourself, what did I actually learn here? What challenges came up, and how did I handle them? And maybe most importantly, what would I do differently next time? That final question,
That's where true insight turns into an action plan.
All right, let's bring it all home by seeing how these two practices, presenting and reflecting, don't just happen once, they create a powerful, continuous cycle for your success.
See, when you make reflection a non-negotiable habit, you are building an engine for continuous improvement. You become more self-aware, you get way better at solving problems on the fly, and you guarantee that every single project, every single presentation makes you better at what you do.
Really? It all boils down to this. Your presentation is the vehicle that carries your idea out into the world. But your reflection? That's the workshop where you tune up that vehicle, making it stronger, faster, and more effective for the next journey.
So, as we wrap up, I want you to think about that. The presentation gets your idea off the ground, sure, but it's the quiet, critical work of reflection that ensures it continues to fly higher and higher. So the only question left is, what will you improve next?